The most common phrase used by regular people and politicians to refer to politics is "it's a dirty game." True to this phrase, politics can indeed be a dirty game. Besides the specific skills like leadership, integrity, and speaking well that a political career demands, it's an unfortunate fact that a politician needs to be crafty and willing to bend, if not break, the law to climb the political ladder. The one factor that makes political positions desirable is the proximity to power. By being a politician, one has the means to access the rich and the mighty and close multiple deals that help one amass wealth. People whose sole wealth can be attributed to their life in politics. Here are 10 politicians that made all their money in politics. Number 10, Robert Mugabe. The infamous Robert Mugabe was the president of Zimbabwe from 1980 to 2017. Even though Mugabe came from a relatively low-income family, he was fortunate to receive a quality education and earn a Bachelor of Education in 1953. Mugabe's introduction to politics happened in 1960 after he was elected public secretary of the National Democratic Party. He quickly organized military youth groups to spread the message of independence of Southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, a move that propelled him to popularity. In 1963, the British arrested Mugabe for his involvement in the resistance movement. He remained in custody for over a decade until his escape. Number 9, Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was a writer, party leader, politician, and Iraq's 5th president. He was formally recognized as the Iraqi president in 1979 despite serving as its de facto leader years before. He served as its leader from 1979 until he died in 2003, when his estimated net worth was $2 billion. Other investigations also led to the discovery of thousands of wire transfers siphoning money from the Iraqi government to foreign accounts. The money stashed in these accounts was estimated to be $5 to $10 billion. Number 8, Adolf Hitler. While his reputation as the German Nazi leader who instrumented the Holocaust precedes him, the less-known fact about Adolf Hitler is that he was a billionaire. Having been born into a low-income family living in an Austrian village on its border with Germany, it's clear that Adolf Hitler accumulated all his riches during his tenure in German politics. Much of his money came from corporate donations and government projects. Later he adopted a more creative approach to siphoning money from the government by ordering them to purchase his book to gift state newlyweds. This one move saw him earn millions in royalties. Number 7, Ibrahim Babangida. Ibrahim Babangida, former Nigeria president, is reportedly worth at least $50 billion, most of which was made during his presidency from 1985 to 1993. He's possibly Nigeria's richest politician yet. Babangida's background is primarily in the military, having held various positions like Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant Colonel, Major General, and General. Babangida reportedly stole over $14 million during his tenure, most of it from the Gulf War oil windfall in 1992. His fortunes compounded after overseas investments in multi-corporations, telecommunication industries, local and international real estate investments, and other avenues. Number 6, Ferdinand Marcos. Ferdinand Marcos, the Philippine president between 1965 and 1986, was a lawyer, politician, and dictator who gained popularity by claiming to be the most decorated war hero in Philippine history. During his tenure as president, he pursued several developmental and infrastructural programs funded by foreign debt that, due to mismanagement, led to the loss of lives, extreme poverty, and a crippling debt crisis. For decades, the Marcos family held the Guinness World Record for the most significant government theft until recently, when Guinness removed the record from their list. Their children, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Amy Marcos, are still active Philippine politicians. Number 5, Suharto. During his 31 years as president of Indonesia, Suharto's net worth rose to $55 billion. Opponents of his leadership named his years in government as full of corruption, nepotism, and collusion. To paint the picture of just how much Suharto must have plundered during his years in politics, Transparency International named Suharto as the most corrupt president of the last 20 years in 2004. Number 4, Hosni Mubarak. If there's one thing that remains true, most politicians who've accumulated wealth through state capture and deceit don't die in biblically shameful ways. Instead, they live long, mostly healthy lives and enjoy their loot well into their sunset years. This is also true for Egypt's former leader, who died in 2020 at 91. Mubarak's rule was marked by extensive killings, invasion of privacy, corruption, and state capture, leading to several failed assassination attempts. At his political peak, Mubarak was worth at least $40 billion, all accumulated through corrupt dealings during his tenure as president. Number 3, Ali Abdullah Saleh. If there's one thing you will learn, if you haven't already, it is that politics itself doesn't pay. If political leaders were to serve as intended, they'd give more than they earn. This is also true for Yemen's political leader Ali Abdullah Saleh, who was the president from 1990 to 2012. Saleh is accused of accumulating a consolidated wealth of $40 to $70 billion. He made most of this wealth in politics, particularly from corrupt dealings and contracts in the country's oil and gas sectors. Number 2, Muammar Gaddafi. There's no way to speak about wealthy politicians who made all their political riches without mentioning the slain Libyan leader, Muammar Gaddafi. To have a clearer picture of just how much Gaddafi had amassed over the years, he was twice as rich as Mexican business magnate, philanthropist, and investor Carlos Slim, and 10 times richer than the late King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia. At his political peak in the late 2000s, Gaddafi's estimated worth was about $70 billion. But, after he died in 2011, reports that he could have a fortune of as much as $150 billion stashed in overseas accounts. In the first position, Vladimir Putin. This is another one of the long-term politicians, Russia's president, whose total wealth experts have been speculating is more than what is currently reported. Before his political debut in early 1990, Putin served as a high-ranking KGB officer for 15 years. He held positions like lieutenant colonel and second chief directorate, among others. Whatever the case, the truth is that Vladimir Putin amassed his wealth during his time in politics. And if the $200 billion speculation is anything to go by, it makes him not just the richest politician but one of the wealthiest men in the world.